But let's start with Ireland, which is about to go to the polls for a landmark referendum on abortion. It's an issue, of course, that has been in the news here recently as well. A councillor in Glasgow has called for buffer zones to be created around places where abortions are carried out to prevent gatherings of pro-life campaigners.
Well, the campaigners have gathered outside hospitals in a number of Scottish towns and cities this year. Here now are Susan Douglas-Scott, an advisor in health and social care who's pro-choice, and John Deighan from the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children. Thanks for coming in, both of you. John, first of all, what is the purpose of these vigils? What do they hope to achieve?
Well, they hope to offer an alternative to abortion. They want to be a presence if women are going in to have an abortion. At the last minute, they may think, I can get some help, I don't want to go through with this. And around the world, and even in the UK, there are many women who will now testify that they have a child that they love, all because of people being present when they needed help at the very last moment.
Susan, what's wrong with that?
I think that women have already come to a decision when they are going to a clinic to have a termination of pregnancy. And it's a very difficult choice for women. They need dignity at that point. They need to not feel judged. And there are many opportunities with the health professionals who are trained in all of those issues to offer them counselling and support. And that may well result in a conversation that says, look, I'm calling a halt here, I don't want to go ahead with this. But it's done in the privacy of the clinic with trained professionals who will support them in a way that's person-centred, that's sensitive and meets their own personal needs.
But we enjoy a right to free speech and expression in this country, so what's wrong with people who disagree with abortion making that point outside clinics and hospitals where abortions take place? Because
we want the best for women, having people close by in that space at that time is not good for them. It's not helpful.
Not good in what way?
Because it's distressing. You know, women who feel judged, they feel unsupported, they've already come to a decision that's been really difficult for them. Nobody wants any women to have abortions, but we know that the reality is that there will be, unfortunately, some unplanned pregnancies. These are not easy things for women to go through, so what we want to do is support them in the best way that we possibly can at that time, and people can have their private places to go and discuss why they disagree with that. So do that in places as church halls or, you know, your own spaces. I'm not saying that you don't have the right to choose.
If we have women who are now coming forward and saying that they took that help at the last moment, surely that's a wonderful thing for them, that they have not gone through an abortion and they have a child that's a loving part of their life. Surely that shows the efficacy of people having the vigils.
I don't really agree with you, John. I think that those women may well have made those decisions because of the professional support that they've had. You know,
at the last moment, but there's no one there, you're saying?
Absolutely. In the clinics, there are people there to speak to them before they go through with the procedure. They're offered counselling, they're offered support by trained nurses, trained doctors.
John, do you understand that this can be very upsetting for women who are going through a very traumatic time and very vulnerable, seeing these protesters when they go in?
The people who stand there would say they're a vigil, they're a presence of support, and we can look at the women who feel...
What do they do on these vigils?
Well, typically they would stand with a sign saying, pregnant, needing help, we can help you. It's signs like that, it's being supportive, and it's easy in a society to try and project your emotions onto someone else, so it's easy to say, oh, they're judging me, but in a democratic society, we cannot have that as the threshold where we say that other people are not allowed to be present in a society.
What we know is that in all civilised societies that have access to safe termination of pregnancy for women, that women's health is better. For women,
that's not true.
That is absolutely true. There's evidence to that. And what happens is that women going to a clinic having to go past these vigils, it's deeply distressing for them, a deeply distressing time.
John. I mean, have you taken part in one of these?
I've attended them, yes, of course.
How do you feel about the idea that what you are doing is causing deep distress to somebody who's already going through a very difficult period?
But Glenn, if you live in a democratic society, you have to look at the other side of the story as well. What about the people who come over to those who are present outside the hospital and say, thank you for being here. I was in a position where I needed support and there was no one there for me.
Have many people done that to you?
Yes. Well, I work in an office where we get phone calls from women, and we have a counselling service where we give help to women who've had abortions. So yes, I deal with a lot. You know, we have volunteers in the office who've had abortions.
But from these vigils, you know, has someone come out and spoken to those protesters?
Yes. If you speak to the people involved in that, they get lots of people coming over. They get people coming over who judge them. You know, so in a society, we have to respect that there will be some people who disagree on contentious issues.
I
So
completely agree with you. You have absolutely got the right to disagree. What you don't have the right to do is to upset women who are going for a procedure in a hospital. Hospitals are supposed to be safe.
Why are they upset,
They're supposed to
Susan?
be safe places because it's a very difficult thing for women to go through.
Why is it difficult?
Nobody wants to have an abortion, John.
Well,
but what happens
therefore,
is
offering an alternative must be better then, if they don't want to have abortions.
an unplanned pregnancy is not an alternative.
Do you have to do it there, though, John? What about the idea of these buffer zones?
Well, the buffer zone is a direct attack on a democratic principle. Surely, and I said,
It's not stopping you being able to demonstrate. It's just saying not right outside this hospital.
oh, well, do we do that in other issues? What about Trident? What about in countries where they have the death penalty? Does that mean you have to close them away?
We're talking about women and women who are vulnerable and are
and need a last chance of help.
But they get that from professionals,
they
John.
don't.
You're not a professional in this area, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm sorry, but we have a staff who are very professional.
There are trained doctors and nurses who know about health.
And the women are
these the
feeling that they
people-
didn't get the help they needed, and they've gone through abortions and they suffer for many years after it, Susan, and they need to have help, and the vigil gives them that last chance opportunity
We
to
had
get
a
that.
feeling we wouldn't get agreement.
I know,
But thank
absolutely.
you for both of you for coming in.
Thank you
today.
very much,
You're very welcome.
Susan and John.